The Normandy campaign. For 78 deadly days, Allied and German armies engage in an epic struggle for the freedom of the Western world in one of the most decisive and bloody battles of the Second World War. The death toll is enormous. Over 100,000 soldiers are killed on both sides, including 5,000 Canadians. For those who survive, the horrors of Normandy remain. This is the story of one of the greatest military campaigns in history, told through the eyes of Canadian soldiers who witnessed the dramatic fight for the beaches, fields, and towns of bloody Normandy. The last time Bill Bettridge, with the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada, crossed the English Channel was June 6, 1944.
Pretty eerie feeling. As we came across, it was a nice level run, but it was far from being a level run when we come across.
Bill is one of 160,000 Allied assault troops that crossed these waters as part of the greatest amphibious operation in history. As a result of either fate or luck, Bill is one of the first Canadians to land on D-Day.
Well, this is the spot where I landed. I was thinking all this 5 years of training for them in England, is it going to be wasted?
The Allied assault, comprising American, British, and Canadian forces, land all along the north shore of Normandy. The 3rd Canadian Division is given the task of clearing Juno Beach. For Bill and the men of the Queen's Own, their target is the seaside village of Bernières-sur-Mer.
It's such a huge thing. The water was so rough, we were seasick, and we landed on the wrong beach. When that door went down, the training routine was the center one was to run out first, then the left, then the right. It turned out we were all trying to get out the door at the same time. We just wanted to get off that beach. We were told not to stop to try and help anybody that was wounded or hurt, just get off the beach. We hadn't gone 50 steps. Somebody on the right stepped on a mine. 3 of the guys carrying a ladder to get over the wall. This first guy, luckily enough, stepped over the thing. The second guy stepped on it. He became just a vegetable. I heard him screaming for 5 minutes.
Landing a few hundred meters away from their objective saves Bill's company from the true hell of Juno Beach. Other companies in the Queen's Own, however, are not so fortunate.
This is where B Company landed, right here, right in front of this machine gun. It was getting a lot of B Company men. They lost about 3/4 of their company between wounded and dead from this machine gun here. We were lucky that we were blown off course because we didn't suffer the casualties that this company did, because they were blown into where we were supposed to be.
By late morning, Bernières-sur-Mer is in Canadian hands. But this does not come without cost. 143 men from the Queen's Own are either killed or wounded in just 3 hours, serving grim notice of what lies ahead for those in the follow-up waves.
We were on an LCT, landing craft tank, and it ran into the beach, and the ramp dropped. Yes, that was shaking because there were a number of bodies already floating up and down with the waves, and some on the beach. We moved through the exit, and went several hundred yards inland, and on the way we passed a roadside crucifix, and a Canadian Scottish soldier was lying there, had been killed, and the townspeople had spread flowers all at that early time around where he'd fallen. Well, in this case, I still remember feeling very sad and upset to find people in the same uniform as I had who'd been killed.
On D-Day, we didn't land till 11 o'clock. That famous photograph you see of a ship, a landing craft, LCIL 299. You see guys coming off there with their bicycles, both sides. And on that craft was D Company of the SD&G Highlanders and support company of the SD&G Highlanders, and that's all. You know, we trained for 4 years. And the last 6 months, they decided that as we were reserve, after they took the beaches, we'd whistle across country on our bicycles and take Carpiquet Airport. Well, Germans had different ideas.
Although the landing is a huge success, fierce German resistance prevents the majority of Canadian units from reaching their D-Day objectives. The Queen's Own are the exception.
We're one of the few that got what we're supposed to get that day, a little hamlet of Anstey. I believe it was about 6 miles in. That made us feel real good, especially when we didn't lose too many casualties in A Company by landing in the wrong place.
Of the 914 Canadian casualties on D-Day, 340 are fatal. Although losses are half of what High Command expects, it remains a stiff price to pay to breach Hitler's vaunted Atlantic Wall. If getting ashore was tough enough, staying ashore in the days following June 6 will prove to be murder. Everywhere in the beachhead, battles rage against stiffening German resistance. On June 7th, 9th Brigade moves on Authie and Baron, but are quickly pushed back with heavy casualties. 7th Brigade fight further to the west. Here, the Royal Winnipeg Rifles are overrun by German forces near the small town of Puteaux-en-Bessin. Faced with a major breakthrough that threatens the beaches, the Canadian Scottish are ordered to stop the Germans at all costs. For Jack Gallagher and the rest of the Caen Scots, this is their introduction to bloody Normandy.
We started up toward Puteaux through an open field, and this was the first action I had actually been in, so I was curious as to how I was going to react. And I was kind of relieved that I was nervous, but I wasn't terrified. And we kept going until I ran into a railway, and I thought, my God, that's the Caen Railway road, which was just beyond or just out of the objective. And I found B Company, who were at the bridge over the railway cut. And so we dug in and waited for the night. The, I guess, worst thing about that was that at some time during the night, one of our fellows had been badly wounded and was lying on the bridge, and nobody